Hello, here are the notes for the lesson on ser versus estar. This page should go on page 76 of your interactive notebook. Take a moment to pause and highlight. And then this side of the page we will deal with in class. You can also highlight this page if you would like. Okay, ahora let's start the lesson.
Hola estudiantes. In today's lesson, I'm going to talk to you about two verbs that mean the same thing, to be. These two verbs are both irregular, and one of which you have already learned in a few lessons back. That would be the verb estar. During that lesson, I told you that this verb means to be, and there is another verb that means to be that you will be learning about later, and this is the day that you are going to learn the verb ser. First, let's just review the reason why we use estar. Estar, like I said, means to be, but specifically it means to be feeling or located someplace. This verb is more of a temporary to be verb, which means that it describes things that are able to be easily changed. Ser is the exact opposite of that. Ser is a more permanent to be verb. Ser deals with things that are not able to be easily changed or things that take time to change. Things such as time, origin, occupation, physical traits, and personalities. Now I would like to just focus for a few minutes on the difference between their conjugation. Okay, here we can see the conjugation chart side by side, so we can compare and contrast them. First, I would like to just focus on the verb estar, since that is what we have previously learned. First, let's look at the conjugations. This is an irregular verb for a couple reasons. In the yo form, instead of just o, it ends in oy. So, yo estoy, I am. Tú estás, él, ella, usted está, and ellos, ellas, ustedes están are irregular because of the accent mark above the A. However, besides that, estar conjugates almost exactly like a present tense regular AR verb, except for those little exceptions. Now let's look at the conjugations of the verb ser. You can see that ser does not look like any normal present tense regular ER verb conjugation. It has its own unique way of conjugating altogether. For this reason, you will have to study this verb and find a way to learn its conjugation so you can remember how this strange verb conjugates. So in the yo form, it is yo soy, I am. Tú eres, you are. Él, ella, usted es, which would be he, she, and it is, and you are formally. Nosotros and nosotras somos, we are. Vosotros and vosotras sois, you all are, used in Spain again. Ellos, ellas, and ustedes son, they are, and you all are. Now, the difference between the two, like I said, this is the temporary to be verb. This is more of a permanent to be verb. First, let's go back to estar, and I will describe the reasons why we use estar. First, it talks about locations, where things are located. For example, yo estoy aquí, I am here. Él está allí, he is there. El libro está encima de la mesa, the book is on top of the table. Any kind of a location of where items or people are located or things, you're going to use the verb estar, because typically locations are very easy to be changed. For example, if I were in my classroom right now, I would be walking around, my location would be constantly changing. Or if there is a room in my house that I am not happy with and I would like to redecorate it and change where the furniture is located, I can change it very easily and solve that problem. So locations, very easy to be changed. Also, it deals with feelings. Feelings change from moment to moment, second to second. Feelings change all the time. For example, I'm in a pretty good mood right now, but if somebody were to call me and give me bad news, then I'm not going to be feeling very happy anymore, especially if it's bad news about somebody in my family or somebody that I love. So feelings change all the time. Also, it deals with anything that can change easily. This would be, an example of this would be something like a cup of coffee that you have let sit and it has now become cold, or some soup that is now cold. It can be easily changed by simply putting it in the microwave and heating it back up. Also, this one, this reason we use this verb, we didn't talk about in the last lesson, but I want you to be aware of it even though we're not really using this tense right now. It also deals with anything that is happening right now. So this is called the present progressive tense. An example of this would be estoy enseñando. I am teaching. I am not going to be teaching forever. This lesson is not going to go on for hours and hours and hours. Aren't you happy for that? I know I am. It's going to have an end. So because it's not going to happen forever, and it does have an end and it's temporary, we use the verb estar. So anything that is happening right now. So locations, feelings, things that change easily, and things that are happening right now. Ser is the very opposite of that. Ser deals with describing things that are pretty permanent or things that take time to change. Things, for example, like time. There are only 24 hours in the day. Whether we like that, whether we want more time or we want less time, we can't do anything about it. There will always be 24 hours in a day, so we can't change that. Origin, where you were born, you had nothing to do with that. You had no say in the state or city that you were born in, whether you like that city, that state or not. It is what it is. Your occupation, which would be your job or somebody's job. I am a teacher, and even though I may not be a teacher forever, I could become something else. That is a decision that is going to take time for me to make. It took years for me to study to be a teacher. I had to go through exams to be a teacher and all of this. So that is not something I'm just going to be like, all right, let's become a nurse, because that's also going to take time. So even though someone's occupation can change, that decision takes time to come to. Someone's personality. If someone is a nice person, they're not going to become completely evil overnight. That is a process that happens over time of somebody experiencing things that degrade their personality and make them something that they once were not, which would be maybe a bad person or a mean person. Also, physical traits. If you are short, tall, have blonde hair, blue eyes, all of these physical features cannot be changed. However, yes, you might be thinking I can put contacts in and make my blue eyes brown or whatever color. I can dye my hair, and if I'm short, I can put on high heels or high-heeled boots, and I can change my height. Yes, however, you can do that at the end of the day when you take the shoes off and the color in the dye in your hair fades and you take your contacts out. It all goes back to what it used to be. You're still going to have blonde hair, blue eyes, and be a short person, if that is your features. So that is something that can't change. Or if you are still growing up and you are getting taller and things are changing, that's still a process that is going to take time to change. And as I've been saying, anything that takes time to change, if it doesn't fit in these categories, then you are going to use the verb ser. Okay? Now, we've got lots of different reasons to use the verb ser and estar. So how are you going to remember when to use each one? Well, I've got a solution for you. This is what I want you to remember. I want you to remember to stop the elf. Whenever you are trying to figure out, should I use ser or should I use estar, I will tell you that to stop the elf is a wonderful acronym to help you remember when to use each verb. So what does this exactly mean? Well, stop stands for ser, so all of these reasons underneath here are going to be the reasons why you're going to pick and choose to use ser. So time, the T stands for time. The O has two meanings, origin and occupation. The P stands for personality and physical traits. Then elf stands for estar. So everything under here will be the reasons why you would choose to use estar. For locations, and feelings. So remember, if you remember this acronym, stop the ELF, it will make this whole concept in your life with learning ser and estar and when to use each one a lot simpler. Alright, so I just want to go over some examples of when to use ser and when to use estar so you can have an idea of what exactly falls in these categories. Like I said, time. For example, es la una, when you're saying it's 1 o'clock. Es, it is 1. Son las dos, it is 2. So it's 2 o'clock. Remember, we can't change how many hours there are in the day. An origin, soy de Maryland. I am from Maryland. Whether I like Maryland or I don't like Maryland, I can't change the fact that I'm from Maryland. I actually do like Maryland, by the way. Your personality, eres simpático. You are a nice person. That's not something that's easily going to be able to be changed. And mi gato es amable. My cat is lovable. My cat's not going to become completely evil tomorrow. She is a pretty lovable cat. If she were to become completely evil, something really horrible would have to happen to her over and over again because she's such a lovable cat. Also, physical traits. Mi gato es gordo y adorable. My cat is fat. She is. Eres gorda. However, she is adorable. Adorable. So the fact that she is fat, she's not going to become skinny tomorrow. She's not going to lose all of her fat overnight. We're going to have to put her on some kind of a diet. However, she always figures out a way to sneak food, so I don't know if that's really going to happen. And she is adorable. I don't know how she would not become adorable. Maybe when she gets older, she will not be as adorable. I don't know. But anyway, that will take time to change. Okay, and I almost forgot occupation. So going back up to the O, origin, along with that is also occupation. So for example, tú eres un estudiante. You are a student. Right now your occupation in life is that you are a student. Your job is to go to school and to learn and to do a good job. However, you might be thinking, wait, I am not going to be in school forever. Yes. However, even though that is true, right now you have however many more years of school. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to say the number because I know you don't want to hear it. But it is going to take time for you to go through the rest of middle school and the rest of high school so that you aren't a student anymore, or you might still be a student if you choose to go to college. So who knows how long you'll be a student. It's different for everybody. So your job right now is to be a student. And then also, like I said, if it doesn't go under any of these categories, time, origin, occupation, personality, or physical traits, then it may fall under things that don't change easily. So if it doesn't go under those categories, ask yourself, is this something that changes easily or doesn't change easily? Two examples of this would be, somos buenos amigos. We are good friends. The fact that you are good friends with somebody, first of all, it's describing the relationship. And secondly, even though, yes, you're not going to remain best friends or good friends with everybody that you're friends with right now, relationships do change. They change all the time. However, relationships change for a reason. They take time to change. If you're best friends with somebody today, they're not just going to be like, for absolutely no reason, I don't want to be your friend anymore, or we are enemies overnight. That something had to happen in the relationship for things to go bad. Someone had to be provoked or get tired of something. So that is something that is not easily able to be changed. And also, las fresas son buenos para la salud. Strawberries are good for one's health. That is a fact. It's just the way it is. Strawberries are good for you. Fruits are good for you. Vegetables are good for you. Anything like that, if it's a fact, then you are going to use the verb ser. Okay, so those are some examples of how to use that. And the last thing I want to go over with you before we practice is some more examples of the verb estar. So this verb, like I said, deals with locations. For example, la comida está encima de la mesa. The food is located on top of the table. That's where the food is. If I didn't want it on top of the table, it could easily be placed somewhere else. Mis gatos están aquí. My cats are here. That's where they are located. And if I didn't want them here, I could put them somewhere else or in another room. Also feelings. Remember, feelings change all the time. That's why we ask, ¿Cómo estás? How are you doing? Estoy bien, gracias. I am doing well, thank you. And also, if you are trying to figure out, should I use ser or should I use estar? Again, ask yourself, is this something that can be changed easily, or is this something that takes time to change? If it's something that can change easily, then we're going to use estar. For example, mi comida está fría. My food is cold. That is something that can be easily changed. You can put it in the microwave and warm it up. And also, estamos tomando un examen. This is, we are taking an exam. That is something that is happening presently. We haven't learned this present progressive tense yet, however we will. And this is something that's not going to be happening forever. Aren't you happy that tests don't last forever? That's a great thing. It's a temporary thing, so we're going to use the verb estar. Okay, ahora it's your turn. Vamos a practicar. Please look at your paper and pause the video. Read through these carefully. I have mixed up if you are going to use ser or if you're going to use estar. So not all of these are going to be one verb. They are mixed up. It's going to change. So the first thing you need to do is read the sentence, figure out what it's trying to say, ask yourself, does this fall under a ser or a estar description? And then once you figured out what verb it is, then you have to conjugate the verb correctly in the blank. Okay, go ahead and pause, and when we come back, we'll see how well you did. Ok, ahora vamos a chequear las respuestas. Número 1, la grasa y la mantequilla. The fat and the butter, trying to say, are bad. Okay, that is a fact. Fat is not good for you, and neither is butter. So that is going to be the verb ser. So I'm going to write the verb over here. And now we have to conjugate it for fat and butter. Now we have two items here. Even though they are both singular, there are two of them, which makes the sentence plural. In that case, we're going to use the plural version of the verb ser, son. Número 2, mis amigos en la escuela ahora. Saying my friends are in the school now. Well, since we're talking about the location of where your friends are right now, this is going to be estar. Now, we have multiple friends, mis amigos, so we're going to use the verb estar. Están. El helado, ice cream, the ice cream, delicioso, delicious, saying that the ice cream is delicious. That is your opinion of ice cream. Even though someone may disagree with you and someone else may think that ice cream flavor is disgusting, your opinion is not easily to be changed. If you like that flavor of ice cream, unless someone has just made it really bad, you're going to not change your opinion about that easily. So that is going to be ser. And it's just one ice cream we're talking about, which makes it singular. So that's going to be es. Yo, something, inteligente, saying, I am intelligent. If you are intelligent, you are not going to lose all of your intelligence overnight. That would take time to change if that did happen. So since this is something that's difficult to change and it describes your personality, we're going to use ser. And it's the yo form, so the correct answer would be soy. Mi gato, something, comiendo. Comiendo it means eating. So my cat is eating otra vez, is eating again. Really? This is the present progressive form. She's not forever going to be eating, even though she is a fat cat, and sometimes it seems like she's constantly eating. This is going to be the verb estar, because it's temporary, and my subject is one cat, so I'm going to say está. Remember my accent mark. Según el reloj, something las 9:20. According to the clock, it is 9:20. So we're describing time. Remember time, there are a set number of hours in a day. It's pretty permanent, so that is ser. And it is 9, that is plural hour. So we're going to say son. Okay. Nosotras, blank, de España. We are from Spain. That is our origin. That's where we're from. Origins don't change. So we're going to use ser in its nosotras form, which will be somos. Okay, número 8. Tú ocupado, saying you are busy. You're not going to be busy forever. Whatever task you are working on is going to change, so it's going to be temporary. So this is estar, and it's tú, which is estás. Estás ocupado. Mariana y tú, dentistas. Well, Mariana y tú are saying that they are dentists. So this is an occupation which is not easy to be changed. It takes time to decide not to be a dentist because they have to study for a long time to do that career. And this is going to have two possible answers. We can either say son, or in Spain, we can say sois. El té no caliente. The tea is not hot. That is a temporary condition. We can fix that by warming it up in the microwave. So that's going to be estar. And el té is singular. Entonces that will be está. El té no está caliente. Ok, número 11. La casa al lado del hospital, saying the house is located next to the hospital. Now, this is one that confuses people sometimes because it is location, and that is going to make it estar. But some people say you can't take a house and physically move it. I mean, you can, but that's really difficult, costs a lot of money, and people normally don't do that. And even though that is true, this is still going to be temporary because anytime you deal with describing locations in Spanish, it's still going to be estar. And it is one house. So the location, the conjugation is going to be está. La casa está al lado del hospital. And lastly, number 12, tú blank mi mejor amiga. You are my best friend. Now, we talked about friendships. They don't change very easily. However, they can change, but it takes a process of changing. So even though maybe this person may not be my best friend in 10, 20, however many years, right now we are best friends, and it's going to take time for that to change that. Entonces, that will be el verbo ser, and it is the pronoun tú, which will make this eres. Tú eres mi mejor amiga. Okay, and that is how you know the difference between ser and estar, and now you have learned your second irregular verb, ser. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me or bring your questions to class, write them on your whisk, and we will discuss them further. Gracias. Stop.